This is Negotiating News from TWU Local 555. Here are your hosts, Robbie Gadd and Jesus Gomez.
Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to this edition of Negotiating News. I'm Robbie Gadd.
And I'm Jesus Gomez. As you can see by the length of this episode, we have a lot to talk about. But first, we'd like to welcome our president, Randy Barnes, who has a special announcement for you, the dedicated, hardworking members of TWU Local 555.
Nearly 2.5 years ago, during a time of great uncertainty, we began contract talks. During this time, you were risking your health and your family's health by coming face to face with millions of passengers and coworkers. You were moving critical medical supplies, transporting healthcare providers, and maintaining our nation's transportation infrastructure. The company made promises to our passengers and the government, and it was you, the members, who fulfilled those promises. While we were going above and beyond, the company threatened us with pay cuts, furloughs, and removing the benefits of the union leadership. The WARN notices that were meant to scare our members instead unified the membership and strengthened our hand as we began negotiations. We were tasked with a goal of obtaining improvements and gaining an industry-leading contract in terms of pay and job protections without concessions. We reminded the company that the prosperity of Southwest Airlines has historically relied upon TWU 555 members. We felt the regrowth of Southwest Airlines would also necessitate a dependency upon our members' hard work and determination. It was against that backdrop that your negotiating committee first met with the company on April 28, 2021. We represent over 140 years of combined experience in loading planes, boarding passengers, hauling bags, and provisioning aircraft, along with involvement in the countless other details required to run an airport. Alongside our fellow members, we have shown up in both good times and difficult times to make this airline the envy of the industry. Our firsthand knowledge gained while working on the front lines, coupled with the results of numerous membership surveys, gave us the roadmap to begin this journey. Through these surveys, emails, and suggestions submitted to the website, you told us your top priorities. You wanted industry-leading wages, caps on insurance premiums, improvements in retirement, job protections, and better staffing. Using these points as a foundation, we poured through our contract, the contracts of other Southwest Airlines unions, and our competitors' agreements. Our research, along with expert advice from our legal counsel and economists, provided solid data that strengthened our bargaining positions. I am excited and honored as your president and chief negotiator to announce that we have reached a tentative agreement on a new contract with the company. After a special meeting, your local executive board has voted to send the tentative agreement to you, our members, for a ratification vote. There are many improvements in this contract. We push for sweeping gains in wages, benefits, leaves, and work rules. What you will be receiving for review is the result of nearly 2.5 years of hard-fought negotiations. We're making every effort to give you all the information you need to make an informed decision. This video explains the committee's strategy for negotiating and go over the changes in the tentative agreement. The red line agreement, along with an overview of 31 articles, will be available on our website, twu555.org. Members of the negotiating committee, accompanied by members of the board, will be visiting multiple cities to review the contract and answer questions. We appreciate the many suggestions that were sent in during negotiations and the encouragement and support that many of you expressed. Now, it's in your hands. Take this opportunity to let your voice be heard. You, the members of TWU 555, have the final say.
Before we get into the details of the contract, here is a brief overview on how we prioritize negotiations.
We received information from you in multiple ways. At the beginning of this process, we reviewed over 1,000 suggestions submitted after the last negotiating period. We also received and answered hundreds of your emails. Finally, we put out 3 surveys in order to identify your top priorities for us to negotiate.
From the surveys, we identified the top 22 areas where you wanted change. We negotiated improvements on 20 of the 22 items identified in the survey. Let's get into the details of the 31 articles and changes we negotiated on your behalf. This video may seem long, but it's important to understand. Educating yourselves on the changes in this contract is an investment in your future.
Now, we understand there may be an urge to go straight to Article 28 and look at the proposed wages. We encourage you to view this contract as a whole and look at all the changes within.
Once you have considered and read all the changes, you can make an informed decision and vote accordingly.
Here are the details of the 25 articles with changes.
Article 2, Scope of the Agreement. Article 2 has several changes. In paragraph B, the covered work that supervisors may perform is outlined. Separate charts highlight the limitations for ramp provisioning and operations in freight. The paragraph also outlines exceptions where supervisors may perform covered work. A covered work committee has been created for the union and the company to cooperatively review covered work violations. 6 months after the date of ratification, the minimum rate for covered work violations will go to 2 hours at the applicable overtime rate instead of 3/4 of an hour. Paragraph F covers third-party contracting. In F2, the standard for replacing contractors with TWU 555 members moves from departures exceeding 12 per day to 84 per week. This paragraph also protects TWU 555 members in all current and future cities where our members are employed. In F3, the number of flights necessary to replace contractors in San Juan moves from 25 per day to 105 per week. F4 requires the company to provide the union with flight data that shows the number of flights at each contract city.
Article 5, Classifications. Article 5, Classifications, adds language to protect ramp and provisioning agents from being replaced by new technology. This is the same contractual protection that operation and freight agents had already earned in previous contracts.
Article 6, Hours of Service Relief Agents. Article 6, Hours of Service Relief Agents, has several changes. The changes in B clarify when a member should receive lunch. Language is also added that guarantees a member will be able to take a lunch after notifying his supervisor and finishing the immediate task. For shifts that start between 6 p.m. and 4 a.m., paid lunches are no longer limited to bidded shifts. Members on overtime, shift trades, etc. will now receive a paid lunch for shifts that start between those hours. D, 1A through D, sets specific bid parameters. Work schedule bids must be awarded and posted by the 11th day of the month prior to the bid becoming effective. Free day bids must be posted by the 18th of the preceding month, and FTO DAT bids will be awarded and posted by the 25th of the preceding month. All bids will be open for 7 days and cannot run concurrently. D3. sets rebid parameters and requires rebids to be posted at least 72 hours prior to the beginning of the month in which they take effect. J, allows a member's schedule to be adjusted as soon as they turn in documentation noting that jury duty will last at least 2 weeks. The former standard was that members had to serve on a jury for 2 weeks before their schedule could be adjusted. K, reduces trade deadline from 12 to 8 hours and moves 72-hour deadline to paragraph J. It also requires the company to provide a means to timestamp trades. K8 allows for a 30-minute shift overlap on shift trades and creates language for longer overlaps to be approved at the company's discretion. Section 2, Relief Agents. F, the relief agent premium increases from $175 to $235.
Article 7, Overtime. Article 7, Overtime has several changes. The changes in C5 guarantee that an agent picking up another agent's mandatory overtime will receive double time. In G5, agents who extend in will not have to wait until the 2 hours after their scheduled start to take a break. The 2-hour countdown begins at the start of the extension. I4 moves overtime book closing from noon to 11 a.m. That tightens the requirements for closing the book within 2 hours. An overnight shift is defined in I5. The overtime call book will have a column for the overnight shifts, and agents who sign up for the overnight assignments cannot be given a shift that starts before 9 p.m. I6 requires the company to seek volunteers before requiring mandatory overtime, and all mandatory assignments will have a beginning and an ending time. In L3, the charter per diem is raised from $35 to $50. A side letter of agreement was reached with Article 7. The side letter creates a 1.5-year trial period for all voluntary overtime over 32 hours in a calendar month to be paid at double time.
Article 8, Seniority. The changes in Article 8, Seniority, begin in paragraph E, which sets specific dates of January 15th and July 15th for the seniority list to be posted. It also increases the period to protest omissions or incorrect positions from 15 to 30 days. The time frame in H4 to respond with intention to return to work is increased from 7 to 14 days. Members who transferred to a position outside TWU 555 will retain seniority for 180 days under the new language in H6. H7 increases the recall limit from 5 to 7 years. In H8, the time frame for a member to keep their job while on medical leave increases from 36 to 48 months. Under the new provisions in I, members who promote to supervisor after ratification will not retain seniority past 180 days. Current supervisors who promoted prior to ratification will continue to retain their seniority.
Article 9, Training. Article 9 Training has a few changes. Paragraphs A and B require computer-based training to follow the same guidelines as training classes. When a member is required to leave their base station for training, paragraph C increases their per diem from $35 to $50.
Article 10, Part-time Employees. Article 10, Part-time Employees has several changes. In paragraph C, archaic language that is no longer needed is eliminated. In D, AM is removed from the language to make part-time ratios applicable to all shifts. E removes the company's ability to replace a full-time shift with 2 part-time shifts on the weekends. In G, union is added to representative for clarification. H defines the part-time meal period. The seniority calculation in O adds rounded up to the nearest whole day to help clarify seniority for part-time members moving to full-time.
Article 11, Filling of Vacancies. Article 11, Filling of Vacancies has changes in 2 paragraphs. The addition in D establishes a formula for calculating the number of days of leave on an overseas move. The changes in G are designed to make it easier for members to apply for positions in other classifications. Active discipline below a final letter of warning will not disqualify a member from interviewing for another position within the scope of this agreement. Positions within this agreement will be filled by the most senior qualified applicant. Applicants who are not chosen for a position have an option for a post-interview review to see what improvements are needed to have a better chance for the position when it is available again.
Article 12, Leaves of Absence. Article 12, Leaves of Absence, has several improvements. The changes in C1 allow members to retain seniority for pay, sick leave, insurance, and vacation accrual purposes during a personal leave. This replaces the old standard of 30 days. C2 extends job retention while on medical leave from 36 months to 48 months. Improvements for military leaves of absence are in C3. This section allows for record improvement while on military leave and adds local and state laws and specifically to reemployment rights and adds the Uniform Service Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, USERRA. C6 is a new section that guarantees parental leave. This is a 12-week unpaid leave, but members have the option of using accrued sick or vacation time for pay and maintain their health insurance throughout the leave. The leave begins after the birth or placement of a child and must be taken within 12 months. The member will retain and accrue seniority and maintain health insurance during the leave.
Article 13, Sick and Occupational Injury Pay. Article 13, Sick and Occupational Injury Pay, has upgrades in Sections 1 and 2. Section 1. There are two changes in C. The language that requires members to have a minimum number of hours in their sick bank to receive pay has been removed. The number of days a member can be sick without a doctor's note increases from 3 to 4. Section 2. Paragraph A provides clarification that the initial visit to a company clinic for triage or evaluation will not be considered as the employee's selection of a treatment provider. Since laws vary from state to state, contact information is included in the contract where members can ask specific questions related to their situation and the applicable state laws. Paragraph C prevents management and labor from violating a member's privacy or seeking unauthorized intrusions into an employee's treatment regimen. In G, the maximum limits to retain seniority are extended from 36 to 48 months. There are two improvements to the Return to Work program in paragraph I. The first change adds member involvement in selecting jobs from the Return to Work matrix. Secondly, the matrix shall be reviewed once per contract, and changes may only be made by mutual agreement between the union and the company.
Article 14, Vacation, Stats, and FTO Days. Article 14, Vacation, Stats, and FTO Days adds guidelines and some flexibility. Paragraph D requires the company to make available to members the accrued vacation and FTO days for the next year prior to the beginning of the declaration round and requires the company to post results at least 5 days before the first round of block week bidding. Paragraph F, subpoint 4, references the new posting guidelines in Article 6, while paragraph F, subpoint 5, allows for DAT FTO days above the maximum if coverage is available in the overtime book. DAT and FTO days requested less than 24 hours in advance will be awarded at management's discretion. Paragraph J prohibits the company from changing FTOs without the employee's approval.
Article 15, Reduction in Force. Article 15, Reduction in Force, improves members' rights during a layoff. In paragraph A, Reduction in Force, RIF notices, will be sent out 60 days in advance instead of the current 2 weeks. The timeline for furloughed members to file a preferential bid in D is extended from 5 days to 15 days. Recall timeframes are extended in paragraph G. In G2, the intention to return notice time frame increases from 7 days to 14 days. The G3 time frame to return to work increases from 15 days to 30 days. In H, permanent bid location notices while on furlough will now be sent to the appropriate department instead of the vice president. The change in J allows furloughed employees to retain pass privileges for 24 months. This replaces the old standard of 120 days that only allowed passes to look for another job. The recall time limit in K is increased from 5 years to 7 years.
Article 16, Temporary Assignments. Article 16, Temporary Assignments, adds guidelines and clarification. Paragraph A clarifies that agents who temp must be from within the same bid location. Temporary assignment parameters are established in paragraph B. There must be a 7-day bidding period. All assignments will have a beginning and end date. Assignments may be extended once for 14 days, but only if the member agrees to the extension. Paragraph C is new and creates guidelines for emergency temp assignments. This is for unforeseen events and can only last 14 days. DATs are added in paragraph D as an area where a temp agent can exercise seniority. Paragraph E increases per diem from $35 to $50 a day.
Article 17, Safety and Health. The changes in Article 17, Safety and Health, improves communication and provides clarity. Paragraph B1A and B assure safety committee members will be afforded enough time to perform equipment and facility checks. Safety walks and safety checks are divided into 2 separate events. Safety check is a safety committee looking over the facility and equipment, while safety walk is a walk involving a company representative. In paragraph B3, the union's safety concerns are to be addressed in a timely manner and discussed in the monthly safety meetings. In response to the recent pandemic, the company agrees in paragraph F to provide disaster and pandemic equipment when needed. Paragraph G requires the company to include the local union rep or representative in all accident injury investigations.
Article 18, General and Miscellaneous. There are 2 changes to Article 18, General and Miscellaneous. In paragraph J, bereavement is brought in line with company policy. Paragraph P provides paid parking for all employees covered under this agreement.
Article 19, Uniforms. The changes in Article 19 uniforms streamline the uniform program. Paragraphs B and D combined ramp provisioning, operations, and cargo uniform allotments under one program. This eliminates the ops freight uniform step allowance and raises the ramp provo accrual limit to match ops and freight. All agents will receive $327 a year and accrue up to $732. Uniform options for pregnant members are expanded. They may borrow uniforms or elect to receive $206 towards new uniforms.
Article 20, Grievance, System Board, Arbitration Discharge, and Discipline. There are several improvements in Article 20, Grievance, System Board, Arbitration, Discharge, and Discipline. Paragraph G creates guidelines for document sharing and fact-finding meetings. The company may not use third-party materials in the decision-making process unless those materials are shared with the union. The union representative will have the right to question witnesses. In a note, you'll see several places where calendar days has been changed to working days throughout this article. The administrative discharge time frame is increased in paragraph J1 from 36 months to 48 months. In paragraph L, decisions handed down at the station level will only be referable in the station where the decision was made. On another note, you'll notice throughout the article that labor relations has been changed to labor due to a department name change. Paragraph L6 makes system board decisions referable, but not precedent-setting. The union has more flexibility in scheduling system boards in L10. Up to 20 system boards a year may be scheduled in the city where the discharge grievance originated. System boards may also be held virtually if both parties agree. System board timeframes are defined in L13A. Termination system boards must be held within 60 days, and contractual interpretation cases within 90 days. Paragraph L16 adds working to 10 days when taking a case directly to arbitration. It also increases the advance notification for disciplinary grievance cases that will be heard in a Med-Arb session from 10 business days to 15 working days. Archaic language is removed in paragraph L18, and language was added that the Med-Arb session can be added or canceled by mutual agreement. When sessions are added in L19, the additional Med-Arbs will alternate between those appointed by the union and the company, beginning with the union-appointed mediator-arbitrator. In paragraph L21, participants will receive must-ride or equivalent passes, replacing the previous language for positive space.
Article 21, Moving Expenses. Article 21, Moving Expenses has several upgrades. Paragraph A requires the company to offer transfer options by changing the flexible may to the definite shall seek furloughed volunteers to transfer to any understaffed stations. Furthermore, the company may seek volunteers to transfer to any other station. New benefits in paragraph C include adding 60 days storage, increasing weight for household goods from 15,000 to 18,000 pounds, and creating an option to receive a cash bonus of $2,500 in lieu of a paid move. The option for a second automobile was added in F. Reimbursement for one automobile is 35 cents a mile. If two automobiles are moved, the first one is reimbursed at 24 cents a mile, and the second automobile is reimbursed at 18 cents a mile.
Article 22, Holidays, Free Days, Flexible Time Off Days. Article 22, Holidays, Free Days, Flexible Time Off Days have several improvements. Paragraph A replaces the improper word termination with the correct word resignation. Paragraph B and C separate FTOs and free day requirements so members may easily read the requirements for each. D2 adds a minimum of 4 premium days a year and explains the premium pay for members working those days. Free day bids in paragraph F must be awarded and posted by the 18th of the previous month. A member's free day cannot be changed without consent.
Article 23, Attendance. There are 2 changes to Article 23, Attendance. Paragraph B reduces the reported personal absence reporting time from 1 hour to 1/2 hour. Members with a doctor's note which has an error or is missing information are allowed 1 working day in paragraph C1 to correct the error on the doctor's note.
Article 24, 737-800 Series Aircraft. Article 24, 737-800 Series Aircraft adds assistance language guidelines for bigger aircraft. The new language in the first paragraph assures that agents who request assistance in the forward bin of the 800 between the bulkhead and the midway point will receive it. Bins A and B are added to the bullet points for clarification. The additional final paragraph adds protections in case the company adds any aircraft with bins larger than bins C or D in the 737-800 series aircraft.
Article 26, Group Insurance Benefits. Article 26, Group Insurance Benefits, guarantees that there will always be a choice of 3 plans, with caps on increases in premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket maximums. Paragraph A also ensures that any plans offered to other groups will be offered to TWU 555 members with the same costs and conditions. Paragraphs B and C explain the sunsetting of the regular plan and guarantees that anyone currently in the plan may stay in the plan, and that there will be one more enrollment period for anyone currently not in the regular plan to choose it. In paragraph D, the company is required to furnish the union with costing and other information concerning the insurance program. Paragraph J provides insurance coverage for dependents of retirees after the employee reaches the age of 65.
Article 28, Wage Rules. Article 28, Wage Rules, has several clarifications and improvements. Paragraph A lists new examples for paydays that fall on holiday weekends. Paragraph G increases the inconvenience shift premium from $80 to $100 when a member has more than 4 shifts starting between noon and 5 a.m. Paragraph H increases the premium when members have multiple start times in a week. In paragraph K, the number of steps is decreased from 13 to 11 by eliminating step 0 and the 6-month step. Members with less than a year will be given a new pay rate seniority date. The new pay rates will go into effect on the next pay period according to paragraph L. A lump sum bonus of $69,916,482 will be split between the members within 60 days of ratification. The bonus will be divided by member income between March 1st, 2022 and July 31st, 2023.
Article 29, Duration and Amendments. Article 29, Duration and Amendments, allows for contract negotiations to begin 12 months before the contract becomes amendable on March 20th, 2029.
Article 30, Retirement. Article 30, Retirement, in paragraphs A, B, and C, adds a non-elective contribution, otherwise known as an NEC. This contribution requires the company to place the equivalent of 4% of a member's income in their 401k account, whether the member contributes or not. The matching ceiling is 5.3%, which means a member only needs to contribute 5.3% for the company to put 9.3% in their account. C2 allows for members to make contributions in 0.1% instead of the current whole number. The language in D was rewritten for clarity, with no change in meaning. Paragraph E contains a Me Too clause that will provide for TWU 55 members the same improvements another group receives in their 401k under the same terms and conditions.
6 of the 31 articles had no changes in this tentative agreement.
If this agreement is ratified, we encourage you to stay informed by taking advantage of all the ways our union communicates to its members. Our website is a great resource to find the latest with the local and its committees. You can also sign up for email and text messaging notifications. You can follow us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Lastly, subscribe to our podcast In the Break Room with TWU Local 555, wherever you get your podcasts.
We want to thank you for your support during this process. Remember, your vote is your voice.
And thank you for watching this edition of Negotiating News.
Stay strong,
united,
and involved.
On behalf of your negotiating committee, Chief Negotiator and President Randy Barnes, Charles Cerf, Robbie Gadd, Melvin Baker, Jesus Gomez, and Ed Green. Thank you for watching this episode of Negotiating News.